All right, good morning, everyone. This is progress meeting number 18 for the Donovan Smith Mobile Home Park Sewer and Water Extension Project. We're at day 538. There's 92 days left, 3 months left. We've used about 85% of the time, and we're almost 78+% complete. So pretty much on schedule. The schedule that Teal's provided is attached. I feel like we're right on schedule according to that. We had another very good month. I mean, the previous month was a good month, and last month also. I'll just go through some of the numbers, the work completed since the previous meeting. 1,355 feet of 1-inch diameter water service pipe. 30 corporation and curb stops were installed in the last month. That completed all the water main and water service to the curb stop work last month. That is all complete. The plumbing contractor, Harry Caswell, as you all know, has been installing now water services. They also completed all of the sanitary sewer connections, sewer laterals back to each of the existing units and empty lots. They did 1,962 feet of the 4-inch diameter sewer laterals. Mr. Harry Caswell is here today. His crews, has had at least two crews out there per day, and sometimes in addition to that, a subcontractor installing the water services. So a lot of activity, and you live out there, so you probably have seen that. There were 27 4-inch diameter cleanouts and sewer connections installed by Teal. Again, they completed all the sewer work. And I think last week we abandoned one 1,000-gallon septic tank. So that whole process has started now and is ongoing, abandoning some of the existing septic tanks. Work to be completed in next month. I think we're going to complete the water services. Everybody will be connected within, I'm going to say plus or minus Labor Day. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
So that's a great thing. That's a huge milestone for this project. Everybody's connected now to BPW water, and everybody's connected, well, as of today, everybody's connected to BPW sewer. So very big milestone on the project. I know we're going to continue with the abandonment of the septic tanks. Don't know if they'll all be abandoned in the next month, but it won't be long after that they would be completed. I think, Johnny, I've took the liberty to look ahead here, and I put in here that the Storm Tech installation would happen in the next month. I didn't talk to you about it.
No, you're 100% right. And then following that, you have the roadway restoration. Hopefully next week we'll be starting on Cooper Circle.
Oh, wow.
You will see the surveyors out there either Friday or Monday or Tuesday, and the crew should be out there next week too. This rain coming in is gonna, could slow us down a little bit, but
Gotcha.
Next week you'll probably see some action in Cooper Circle with doing the road restoration.
That's another big milestone. So just maybe, Johnny, so people could understand what's going to happen when we talk about road restoration. Some of the, you've seen the trenches for the water and sewer, and they've been dug and backfilled with stone, crusher run. In Cooper Circle, there's some larger areas of asphalt road that were not dug up as part of that installation. That is going to now be excavated out and replaced with stone. So, and the roads will be graded. So, Johnny, question, I guess, for me, when they come in and they do that work and they put the crusher run down, are they going to base pave behind that, or are they going to wait until the stone work is done on the whole community? What's your...
I don't think we've quite decided that yet.
Okay.
I would like, me personally, to get Cooper Circle done, right? So get Cooper Circle dug out, get the new stone in, and release them to pave that section. But we haven't decided if that's exactly how it's going to go, but it's definitely a possibility we could do that.
That would be great. So that entire Cooper Circle then would be cleaned up, so to speak, with paving and then restoration, et cetera.
I think it would make sense if we're gonna come in there and get the stone in there. I wouldn't leave it till I got the whole other subdivision done and allow time for the grade to get messed up with rain and people driving through there. So.
Yeah, I understand. And that's a good thing. So, and I know that, you know, the community's been dealing with a lot of Crusher Run Road for a long period of time, so they're probably happy to hear that, you know, we're gonna start some paving. So that's all good news about work happening in the next month. Sounds like it's gonna be a very active next month also. So status of water service and sewer laterals. All the sewer laterals, all the sanitary sewer main has been installed, and all the sewer laterals have been installed. There were 133 in total. 92 have gone to existing units on site. The balance, the difference between the two, basically, this project required us to provide a clean out at all the lots in the community. So 133 were installed. Water services, that work is ongoing, and they had a good month last month. So 80 have been installed, 60 have been connected. So I think what remains are 53 more connections. 53 more water services to install, and then of those 53, I guess we're looking at about 32 or so of them will be connected to units. So there's approximately 32 units out there still that are not connected to water. SRF funding, wage rates have been coming in weekly. Johnny, from Vicky, that's all been good. The interviews, I know at the last meeting, Keith, we talked about conducting those wage rate interviews once there's a lot of, I guess, personnel on the project. Sounds like maybe when they start this road restoration, that'd be a good opportunity to do another set of wage rate interviews. And construction progress photos, we've talked in the past about getting you, you know, our drone shots at the completion of this. Payment applications 1 through 15 have been received and processed by the board. There are no DelDOT items right now as it stands, because we have not been working in Donovan's Road. That's DelDOT's jurisdiction, Donovan's Road. When we do the final paving for this project also requires us to go into Donovan's Road and mill and pave Donovan's Road. If you recall, there was a water main installed in the one side of Donovan's Road. So that work remains. DelDOT will be involved with DelDOT when that work gets done. Just a reminder to contact Miss Utility. I think 48 hours in advance, I think that process is going along fine. Notification to residents, I think that process has been going well in terms of between Harry's fellows and Dwayne letting people know what's going to happen when, and you know, ahead of time sufficiently so they can make plans for parking their car or having the water off for some period of time. That kind of goes along with communication with residents. I feel like that's been going pretty smoothly for a project of this type. So, and I know there's been a fair amount of water main breaks during the project and shutdowns to repair the water main breaks. I guess another positive thing to report here is that that's going to be coming to an end real soon. There's no RFIs on the project. Safety, I'm not aware of any safety incidents to date, which is a great thing, and we certainly want to keep it that way. And just a reminder, like at all the meetings, that safety's the sole responsibility of the contractor. Submittals, Johnny, I guess in addition to the AIS certification, I'm gonna, now that you tell me you're gonna get started, I'm gonna probably need road restoration, submittals, asphalt, crusher run, et cetera. We may have a crusher run submittal, but certainly asphalt. I don't think we have any asphalt submittals. Job site conditions, resident complaints. I just talked about that. I think, I'm not aware of any complaints. No calls have been coming into me. I assume that means whatever complaints there are out there are getting handled by Dwayne. Inspector hours is a total of 3,500 on the project. We used 187 since the last meeting. Gives us a total of 2,016, 1,484 hours remaining. So I think we're okay here in terms of remaining inspection hours. There was one weather day, which brings the total to 19. And trench backfill, at this point, I feel like all the pipe work's complete. We'll probably pass this, but the on-site material has been used to a great extent on this project. It was good material to put back in the trenches when we did any type of pipe work. And contingency items last month, we didn't use any contingency items last month, which is a sign that the water main breaks, et cetera, is slowing down. Johnny, just another reminder, like every meeting, you got to give me red lines at the end of the project. Change orders, no change in status of the change orders since the last meeting. We had 3 change orders, and they total $190,862. Discussion items, things I just wanted to talk about here in the meeting. So I have this abandonment and dosing pump station. That's, Harry, we were chatting a little bit before the meeting started. That's something that is not indicated on the drawings. I think when it was looked at, we thought it was all one big tank. But I feel, and I didn't even talk to Derek about this, but I feel like that needs to be abandoned. There's raw sewage in it, so we'll have to pull out all the equipment and abandon the same way we're abandoning the septic tanks. And I believe there's just that one, right, Dwayne? There's really just that one station down at the end of Central Avenue, the dosing pump station there.
I don't know.
You're not 100% sure. Neither am I. So, again,
There's one on that circle next to that trailer down there. It's the one that was overflowing. Wasn't working anymore. They're pumping it every day. Yeah.
on the bottom of Central.
That's about Central.
Yeah.
That's the only line of them.
So, like I said, we got the list of all the tanks and sizes from Mr. Burnham's employee. So some of that may, we don't have any records on that other than Mr. Burnham's employee coming in and saying 1,000-gallon tank here, 5,000-gallon tank there, 500-gallon tank there, and that's what's on the drawings.
He should know when he's pumping them. I bet they are. And different size of truck here, so.
So the other thing I just wanted to mention, the plumber is required on the water connections, he's required to provide heat trace tape, which he's doing, but he is not plugging those in or connecting those electrically in any way. So I just want to let people know, everybody at the end of the day is going to have heat trace for the section of water that comes up out of the ground, usually behind the skirt. And it's going to have I don't know how many people are even aware what heat tracing is. It's a wire that they wrap around the pipe so it doesn't freeze in the winter because that's not insulated. And it gets plugged in and it provides heat to keep it from freezing. Dwayne tells me many of the existing, not all, but many of the existing connections had heat trace. I think you're removing those, putting this new. But unless you have some sort of electrical source, an outlet, I think most people have an outlet that they plug in, that heat trace wouldn't do anything for you. And even if you do have that outlet, what I'm letting you know is they're not plugging that in. That's going to be up to you to plug that in if and when you think it's necessary, so. Storm drain and inlets, so Mr. Burnham has taken the opportunity, knowing that Central Avenue is going to be paved and he's going to have a new road, he's taken the opportunity to make repairs to a section of storm drain that crosses Central Avenue. Where in front of what lots would you say is that?
It's from San Antonio, goes straight across the street to
So,
F5.
Mr. Burnham, this is not part of the board's project. This is not funded by the state, but he's replacing 2 inlets with a section of storm drain that crosses that road. So that was in disrepair and causing some problems. So I know that work is ongoing. I think it started yesterday. And what I wanted to also talk about, and I've attached some photos to the back of this report because Dwayne told me there were some questions coming in from residents of how to turn the water on and off, et cetera. So I attached some photos. So that first photo there, at the bottom of the photo is what we call a curb stop. That's really not to be touched by the public. That's a valve that for the water that comes from the water main. That's for the Board of Public Works generally to go in and open and close if necessary. But approximately 5 feet behind that curb stop on the mobile home side is this, we're calling a water service valve box. It's this green box that you've probably seen out there. And then the second photo shows what's inside that box. And so from bottom to top, there's something we call backflow preventer. At every resident, there is a backflow preventer. And what that does is that prevents, if there's any sort of backflow from the unit, that prevents it from going back into the main and back into the public water supply. So that's at every installation. Then you have this shutoff valve. That's your valve to shut the water off inside your unit. And in the position it is there, that's open. And if you wanted to close it, I think you turn that, I can't see.
Clockwise, quarter turn.
Quarter turn, clockwise, and then it would be closed. And we also provided in that box a drain plug. I don't know how many people winterize their units, but the drain plug is provided as a means to drain your entire unit, winterize your entire unit. So if you did want to winterize your unit, you would close the water supply valve and you would open that drain plug. And since that drain plug is generally lower in elevation than any of the plumbing in the unit, the water will most likely drain without needing an air compressor or anything like that, most likely drain out of the unit and just go into the crushed stone. So that really is probably the majority of the people aren't even going to touch that, but I just wanted to make people aware that they have a drain plug at each unit to facilitate winterizing the unit if they want. Now, if you winterize your unit, not only do you blow out the lines and drain the lines, but you would want to put antifreeze, in your sewer, in your traps, et cetera, so they don't freeze. So whatever water's trapped in there, that don't freeze. But I'm sure people that, regularly winterize are familiar with the whole routine. But I did want to show that because Dwayne started getting quite a few questions about there was, I guess, one person who was connected, didn't know it, and was out of water for like a whole day and simply didn't know how to turn the water on. So I thought I'd let everybody, see how to go about doing that. So, with that, I'm going to open it up to questions, and I'm going to start over at Janelle's end there.
I'm good, thank you.
John?
I'm good.
Are they doing the well abandonment?
They will do that, yeah. The well abandonment is in the scope of this.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
You are?
So my question was right after we get the last house hooked up, we can abandon these?
I would say so. I don't see, I can't think off of the top of my head why we wouldn't do that.
They're not using them for irrigation or anything.
Well, that was my question. I didn't know what their plans were for that well, so. I know the septic is built in that they were gonna be abandoned, but I didn't know how the well was, because sometimes they'll disconnect it for irrigation. This property's inside the city, so they can't do that. I'm sorry, answer my own question.
I would say though, we should coordinate with Tony, give him a heads up, and, you know, let him know when we're doing it, and he should double check with the office and, you know, see if there's any particular reason why we wouldn't do it immediately after the last is connected. I'm all for the sooner the better. That existing system is, you know.
We had talked about it.
Okay, good. Awesome.
No, I said,
Wayne,
Nothing.
Harry.
Sounds good.
The dosing system abandonment, it's not in the plans, how are we handling that?
Well, you and I are gonna have to talk about it. I mean, we have in the contract broken out by size tanks. So I don't know, we could look at it together and see what's the appropriate size, or close to the appropriate size for that. I don't even know honestly how big that is, or small.
I'm sure we just consider it a 1,000-gallon tank, smallest one we're doing, right?
Yeah.
We have to cut that thing down anyway, flow grade. Well, however you guys want to do that.
Alright, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Keith?
I just had a question on the water services. You have that there's 80 installed, and then, so there's gonna be another 53 that still
53
need
to
to be
be installed.
installed. And then, do you know about how many, actual units that'll be occupied now? I know there's 133 lots,
I think it's 92.
92.
92 is the number that got
Gotcha.
connected sewer to.
Okay,
The rest are open lots.
gotcha.
Or abandoned.
Or abandoned. There are a few lots that have a trailer on it, mobile home on it, but are abandoned.
Okay.
So we'll go this way. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I don't have any questions, Ron.
About good, right behind. Derek? Sharon?
You've answered a lot of our questions, but I'm still wondering, who is responsible for the property damage sustained during and perhaps after the project's completed?
So when you say, you'll have to be more specific with me, property damage.
Yeah.
So
Porches
give me an
that-
example.
trees that have been removed.
So on
without
you,
prior
specifically on your property, I mean, at the last meeting, you brought up the issue about the trees that had to be removed. And I know that the board has communicated with Mr. Burnham about that issue. And I'm not sure exactly where that stands. And I don't know if they've been in contact with you.
No.
yeah, the biggest question they said was wherever the service is, so if anything had to be removed, like plantings, specifically trees, to not put trees back where the services went.
I understand, yeah.
That was the first kind of discussion piece. The second one was, I think in your specific case, you got permission to put the trees in. The question is, if you're putting the trees in again, do they have to approve where they go because now you have a water line and a sewer line? And that's what I'm going through. I have discussed this with them, so I'm still going through that with them.
Well, I could clarify for you, I'm not asking for the replanting. Mr. Ricciani and Hoffman were there, and it's like, what you have to do, please do. And I'm not putting them back to jeopardize a brand new installation. So we just weren't prepared for this information. I had been asking over a year about the burn that I had in the front and about the tree line. Now, they were planted 12 years ago, so the water and septic was 50 feet in the opposite direction. And I had Miss Utility come in, and so it was all done as expected.
I think her issue also was, could she be compensated for these because she had gotten permission? So you say, you told us you got permission from Mr. Burnham to plant these trees on the site.
12 years.
Your question was, can I be compensated because I went out and spent
Yes.
this money? And I think that question also has been relayed to Mr. Burnham.
Okay. Well, in addition to that, I have also been asking for this tree, this voluntary tree that's in the middle and living off of the old septic and water lines. I've been caring for it because they won't take it down, but that is definitely within the peripheral of the 10 feet away from the plumbing and stuff, and it's sitting there having dozens of, saplings every season. So is that something I have to take up once again with KDM as far as removing this tree that is in the middle of the new installation?
I don't know where this one is.
It's on the backside of the property. Our sewer line or the water line do not go that far, but it's back there, and I think she thinks it's an eyesore and asked us to remove it. I said, I cannot do that unless I'm digging through that area. So I cannot do that.
Well, I didn't call it an eyesore.
No,
I
I'm
was
saying
confused
you-
about the roots, the possibility, that tree being there so long, the roots, being very comfortable where the new installation is.
But what I'm saying is, we are before that, where your sewer and your water hook up. If you were hooked up to the very back of your trailer where the old sewer line was, yes, then I could have dug through there and taken that out and repaired it. But I can't just tell a contractor, hey, you gotta move that, when we're not going to be digging in that area. is
Well,
what I
if
was
it's not
trying to explain.
necessary, then I can put my mind to rest if it's not gonna jeopardize the new plumbing.
I mean, if you want me to, I can bring it up to Ken again. I mean, because I've talked to him, like the grading that you had brought up next to your lot. The whole idea was to wait until the project was done, the abandonment of that septic area, because any grading that was done would be completely wiped out when you go to abandon the existing septic. So that was one open item, and then the tree piece, and then that tree, I have no problem going back and mentioning the concern, but, I just need like a picture, if you get a picture of it, I can just send it back to Ken.
Yes.
We had talked before about my driveway,
Did, yep.
and you asked me for an estimate. I have an
What-
email where you sent to me.
I asked you for a statement specifically stating what you're looking for, yeah.
But I do have it, and I sent you an estimate, and you never got back, neither one of you ever got back to me about how we're gonna resolve this or anything.
When did you send it? Because I have no,
I sent that probably a month or so ago.
by
I sent it
email,
to you.
by,
I have kind of sent it to you twice already, and I haven't got any response from you about how we're gonna deal with that.
did you send it to me by email?
Yes, I did, twice.
I have not received anything. So, I mean, we can talk about your situation. We had met, I believe it was the day after Thanksgiving, if I'm remembering correctly.
I think it was this spring, so
It was this
sometime
spring.
this
It was,
spring.
maybe it was Easter.
Yes.
You guys came out and we talked.
So we
about
came
that.
out, and you have quite a bit of cracked driveway,
Yeah,
concrete
from the
driveway.
excavation that you had,
And-
the excavator was on my driveway.
So I believe where that stands is, and let me just say, because Sharon, you said what damaged property. The board's not running away from any responsibility for any damage that this contractor may have caused. If this contractor caused some sort of damage to your personal property, they're gonna make it right. So, but specifically, Sam, we came out, if I remember correctly, your driveway has 3 sections of concrete. Four. And they all had cracks. And we came out with our pre-construction photos, and we only had, because of the boat being parked there, we did not have clear photos of the 1 out of the 3 sections. But the 3 sections that we did have photos of, I think I said to you at the time, those sections, the cracks pre-existed this project.
But this is what we disagree at. And you showed me one picture and didn't have a crack at all, but now it has a crack. And then you were saying something about you were gonna go back and look at some drone pictures and things like that.
I'm more than willing to
But you
continue
haven't-
looking at this for you, and I can get those photos again, I'm more than willing, but I'm just telling you what I remember going through that day we met out there, that the pre-construction photos were pretty clear on those three sections, and what was up in the air, when, for me at least, maybe not for you, but when I left was, okay, we don't have a clear photo of where the boat is parked, but we said, we'll go, we're taking drone footage every month, we'll go and look at that and see if we could capture a photo that has a clearer picture of where the boat is. And if that truly, if we could determine that the contractor cracked that, truly, we would replace that. And in full disclosure, there was one crack in that particular block that is difficult to say, but did look like it could have been a recent crack. So that's my understanding of where we stand, but it sounds like you may have a different understanding.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying that you haven't gotten back to me, and I've sent several
Yeah.
emails to you. And
Well-
you're supposed to be coming up with these photographs, these drone photographs, and you haven't produced them, and like I said, I'm at the point, where do we go and how do we resolve
I'm
it?
glad you're bringing it up in this
And-
meeting, because I am not even aware of getting any
'Cause
correspondence.
I have sent Austin a, email. I don't know if you got my email or not.
I responded to every email you sent.
And you told me to come to the meeting, and I'm here to address that and to talk. And one more issue is that we are at the lowest point, a couple of homes right there where I am. And since you dug the trench to for the sewer, the septic line, you kind of, when you graded the roads, they had a little embankment that kept the water from coming to my trailer. Since you dug the trench to my home, it seems like all the water, when it rains, it ponds, because I knew you would know that it ponds in that little curve right there. And when it rains, like the next couple of days, it's gonna have this heavy rain, the water has been running under my home where it hasn't been before. And it's pretty obvious. I took some pictures. I don't know if you got the pictures or not.
I do not have photos. I will tell you that Dwayne has told me about that issue, so I need to go out and take a look at that issue.
Do you have a
He
card?
came out,
You have a business card?
because he came out and scraped a little bit, but that, to me, is not gonna mitigate the problem.
Who came out and did what?
Dwayne came out and did a little scraping, but it's not gonna really, mitigate the problem of the water going under my house.
Yep. I'll give you my card. I assume you sent it to the email address that's here. I will go back and check my, what do you call that, when it gets hung up in my junk mail? Yep.
Well, it's just kind of curious, why would you ask me for an estimate? I do have that email where you asked me to send you an estimate.
I had asked you to give me what you specifically were looking for from the board. Yes, I did ask you for that.
And then you also said something about that you had to talk to the city before it could be repaired or something. Is this
I said, because the board wasn't present at that meeting,
Oh,
I
okay.
said, I can't authorize anything. I need to go back to the board.
Okay.
So, just so we understand, I think we're clear now. In my mind, there's three sections that the cracks were pre-existing. There's one section that we could not find a photo and still have not found a photo to definitively say
So-
whether it was cracked
So you
previously.
can't find a photo, so that means that I'm not telling the truth, or
No,
you wanna know how?
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
How it's gonna be resolved.
I didn't say that. I said, our GMB needs to look at that drone footage. It's not something that takes 5 minutes to do.
Let me ask you, how many tons was the excavator? Was that 20 or 30 tons of excavator that was on the driveway, or, I mean, it's like
It was smaller. Johnny, do you know how much a small excavator weighs?
No, I don't.
and I noticed that Caswell has rubber on its tracks. for this excavating, and I know that you guys have a metal tracks on there, and I'm just thinking that big as that thing was, I don't understand how you can't think that it didn't have any impact on my driveway.
I don't know if it did or didn't, but you, Sam, you have to understand, you know, there's 100 people that live out there, and I have to do all the due diligence before I could say, go and replace Mr. Saunders' driveway, because that's not fair to the other people that live in there who maybe have, you know, problems with their driveway.
But there's not that many people have concrete driveways, so that's just.
I don't know how many or not, but you get my
I mean, I
point.
do, because I know that it's like, it's only about 3 or 4 people in there that have concrete driveways. At the most.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, right, the reason that we take photos before the project and after the project is so that we can compare to what exists pre-existing and what is now. So if there's drawings or if there's pictures that show that there were cracks before, and if you look at what it looks like today and there's no change, then it seemingly would look like it wouldn't be an issue. If there's a piece of concrete that is now cracked that we don't even have one, or if it looks fresh or whatever it may be, then that's something to look at. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna solve it here. There's a card there. Make like that connection, and any email or anything, that's the email address that will go to you. If it goes to your spam, that's the one thing.
Gotcha.
But we'll go from there. Yeah.
I understand there'll be, when the project is completed, you'll have a walkthrough.
Yes.
And who will be among the group, and at what time, at what stage? Is it before the completion or after the completion? Could you explain the walkthrough for us?
It would be after everything is complete. So they'll pave this road, they'll do all their restoration work. Dwayne here will provide a punch list, which is just a list of things that, in his opinion, need to be addressed. They'll work that out with the contractor. He'll complete those punch list items, and then at that time, we'll get with the Board of Public Works, probably rep from the city, maybe even DENREC, I'm not sure. DENREC, and we'll do a final walkthrough.
Yeah, I'd love DENREC to be included.
But I have one more question too.
Sure.
My next door neighbor on the right side of me, you did pretty much the same thing, dug in to the front with the trench to put her thing in. And she, like I said, we both are on the lowest point. And she said she went last rainstorm, and she could see the water running underneath of her home because we're on the lowest point. I don't know whether when you come in to do the roads, it's gonna put a bank up there so that doesn't happen? Or is this?
That's not part of the plan, but what I'll say to you is I'll come out and take a look at what you're describing to me.
Because it is a serious problem, because like I said, we are on the lowest end. I mean, I know you're in a hurry to leave, Mr. Cattleman, but I'm just saying that we're having problems with water in our community in the lowest point. And digging the trench didn't help, and when you came in, and our roads had a little bank on our side. So when the water ran, it ran over into the curb on the other side. But now that you've graded the roads quite a bit, and all the water, I'm really worried about the storm coming up in the next couple of days, because all the water is gonna run to our end of the community. And I don't know how, what we can do or how it can be solved, but there's an issue with the storm water running into the lots on the end, especially the 2 of ours, because we're on a dead end now. Have you seen that during the last rainstorm?
I saw ponding on the road. I have not seen it run underneath your trailer. It actually runs down the road and goes down toward lots 6 and 7.
But I showed you a photograph of how, when you were there grading the other day, you could see the water going up underneath the home there. I mean, if it wasn't, why would you be grading it?
When I was there, okay, the trench had settled. That's why we were getting more dirt put in there to build the trench up, okay? In my opinion, it was not the water that came down the road. When on the road, there was ponding in the road, but it was running past your property and past your next door neighbor's property and going down into lot 6 and 7.
Sam, I'll tell you, it's supposed to rain heavy tomorrow. Are you gonna meet down there?
Yes.
I will meet with you while it's raining with my umbrella, and we'll take a look at what's going on.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Any questions? Back row. Joe, any questions?
No, I'm in good shape.
Okay,
Hey, thanks for helping Sam out.
no problem. All right, so, the next meeting is September 4th, a couple days after Labor Day, and, we'll see you then.